There comes a moment in every life when the noise of the world grows deafening. The opinions of others, the doubts inherited from generations past, the invisible boundaries society has drawn around your imagination, all of it threatens to suffocate the fire within you. Most people accept this as the natural condition of life. They shuffle along the well-worn path, trading their originality for comfort, mistaking survival for living. But you are being called to something higher. Understand this. You are not here merely to inherit the architecture of another man's design. You are here to build, to carve, to engineer reality itself with the tools of your mind. You are here to become a mental architect. A mental architect is not content with the blueprint handed down by circumstance. They know that the world around them, every skyscraper, every empire, every invention, was first drafted as an idea in the unseen chambers of the human mind. Edison's light did not begin in a laboratory. It began as an obsession, an invisible sketch in the theater of thought. Henry Ford's assembly line did not rise from steel and rivets first. It emerged from the vision he carried long before others believed. Walt Disney was ridiculed for dreaming of an empire of imagination. They called him crazy, but his blueprint became Main Street, became castles, became generations of wonder. And so, the question echoes, whose blueprint are you living? Your own, or one imposed upon you by family, society, and fear? If you wake each morning only to walk paths others have paved, then you are living as a tenant in a house of borrowed dreams. But if you dare to step back, to close your eyes, to imagine what could be, not what is, not what has been, but what could be, then you place your hands on the drafting table of destiny itself. You begin to design. This is the great secret Napoleon Hill uncovered while studying the giants of industry and empire. Success is not an accident. It is not a lottery ticket. It is an intentional design of thought, focused and refined until it crystallizes into reality. Your mind is both the hammer and the chisel, the pen and the parchment. Your beliefs are the cement, your vision, the blueprint, your actions, the bricks that stack one upon another. But before a single line is drawn, before a single stone is laid, you must claim the identity of the builder. You must reject the passivity of the tenant, because the world is full of dreamers who never dared to draft. It is full of thinkers who never built. The mental architect does both. They do not wait for permission. They do not wait for certainty. They begin. Think of the pyramids of Giza, standing immovable against the sands of time. Those stones were not placed at random. They followed a vision so precise, so daring, it defies comprehension even today. You are called to construct the same in your own life, not of stone and sand, but of habits, beliefs, and relentless pursuit. You are called to build something that outlasts fear, something that endures long after doubt has turned to dust. But here lies the challenge. The blueprint begins within. And most people will not look inward, because within them lives both the architect and the saboteur. Within them lives the voice of clarity and the whisper of fear. Which one you obey determines whether your life becomes a monument or a ruin. You must silence the saboteur. You must train the mind to serve your highest vision, not your lowest doubt. Understand this. The saboteur is fed by fear, by procrastination, by the easy comforts of mediocrity. But the architect is fueled by purpose, by discipline, by the fire of a vision that refuses to die. Every great life begins not with resources, but with resolve. Abraham Lincoln had nothing but books and burning determination. Carnegie was a poor immigrant boy before he became the steel titan. Oprah Winfrey rose from hardship to become a voice that transformed generations. They were not inheritors of empires, they were architects of them. They lived not by default, but by design. And so I ask you, what will you design? What vision is waiting in the silence of your mind, begging to be given form? Do not shrink before its enormity. The higher the calling, the more resistance you will feel. But resistance is the compass. It points directly toward the blueprint meant for you. You are not too late. You are not too small. You are not defined by the bricks already stacked around you. You are defined by the designs you dare to draw next. The moment you accept this identity as a mental architect, life shifts. Problems stop being prisons. They become raw material. Obstacles stop being dead ends. They become the scaffolding on which you climb. And every setback, every doubt, every voice that tells you not possible becomes the clay from which you sculpt resilience. The world will try to hand you its design. It will tell you, here is the job you should take. Here is the path you should walk. Here are the limits of what people like you can do. But you must look back at the world and say, I build my own. The blueprint is waiting. The tools are already in your mind. The only question that remains is whether you will step up to the drafting table or live forever inside a house built by someone else. But understand this truth. The moment you pick up the pen of the architect, the world will resist you. Not because it wants you to fail, but because creation is a battle. Every structure demands effort. Every masterpiece requires struggle. The tallest skyscrapers sway under the force of wind. The greatest lives bend under the weight of doubt. Yet the architect does not abandon the drawing because of storms. They reinforce the foundation. They strengthen the frame, and they continue to build. Your vision will be tested. Friends may not understand. Family may question you. The world may mock you. But remember, no one laughed at the Wright brothers when they succeeded. They laughed before the first flight ever lifted. No one mocked Edison when the light illuminated a city. They mocked him when the first 1,000 attempts went dark. If you are ridiculed now, take heart. It means you are building what others cannot yet see. And when the day comes that your design takes form, the same voices that doubted you will stand in awe. Not because they lacked intelligence, but because they lacked the courage to imagine. You had that courage. You became the architect. But courage alone is not enough. Vision without discipline is only a dream, and discipline without vision is only labor. The architect unites the two. Every morning becomes a laying of bricks, every evening a revision of the blueprint. This is not glamorous, and it is not easy. But understand, every empire is erected in silence long before it shines in the light. The public sees the cathedral only when it is finished. They forget the years of dust, sweat, scaffolding, and sacrifice. So, if your dream feels invisible, if your labor seems unnoticed, take heart. You are still in construction. And construction sites are never pretty. They are chaotic, noisy, unfinished. But within that chaos lives the promise of majesty. Ask yourself, am I willing to endure the noise, the dust, the mess, to see my vision rise? Because most are not. They abandon the site halfway. They throw down their tools when the storms come. But the mental architect endures. They see beyond the rubble to the cathedral that will stand when the work is done. Your life is a site under construction. The only question is whether you will continue building until the masterpiece emerges.